All right, so we're here with the Quad Standard Labs Siccario, developed by Shin Drones and Gab 707. We are going to show you a couple of quick tips about how to install your props in the proper orientation, as well as how to bind your unit, as well as some other small insight into how to look at, getting into it and maybe even setting it up. So first, we're going to start with the props. To install the props, you're going to install the top props just like a standard rotation on a standard quad. So these motors will spin inward, meaning that the trailing edge, while at the nose, the trailing sharp edge will be outward. On the bottom, they'll be reversed to where they come together like scissors. So the short, sharp edge on this side and on this side, they come together and they would technically cut if they were a pair of scissors. So the bottom is rotating counterclockwise and or reverse, and the top is rotating standard direction. That's how you're gonna set your props up when you get those on. Also, just to figure out how to bind your unit, if you have a Diversity Nano receiver, you're gonna find it on the bottom of the back. You'll push the button. Once it's powered on, it'll start to bind, and then you can of course bind your Crossfire system. If you actually have a DJI radio, and you're gonna be using the S-Bus configuration, the bind button is accessible right here on the side. You should be able to use just a small pick or something to easily press that button. That'll get you bound up to your radio or your goggle. So no matter what, you're gonna need to bind your goggle to it. And if you need to bind the Diversity, it's on the back here. If you bind the S-Bus DJI controller, you're gonna bind here. Now that being said, if you are using S-Bus, you are going to be needing to switch to the S-Bus Fast protocol, because that's the protocol being used. It will already be set up that way, but if for some reason you're having issues, you may want to check that. Lastly, to access the USB on both the air unit and the internal flight controller, there's a couple of small tricks. In your bag of tools that comes with the Siccario, you'll find a 90-degree USB cable with a magnetic piece. We've installed and put the metal piece into the flight or the air unit and left it there. We actually don't recommend leaving it there. If you want to take it back out, there's also a little tool to take it back out. And then you can just keep it all the time. However, you will need to reinstall it before getting the cable in there, just because of the angle. So you'll want to put the magnetic piece in first, and then you'll use your cable to access it. On the flight controller, it's slightly more complicated. You will need to remove the left side antenna from the Siccario. To do that, you're going to take out the screw here and the screw on the bottom here. That should allow you to slide the antenna mount out. Putting the antenna mount back in may be a little more difficult because of how tight the sandwich is on the upper and lower plates. That's okay. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take the lander off by just simply unscrewing it by hand. And this single nut and screw, you'll want to loosen just about a half to 3/4 of a turn, and that'll allow you just enough space to get that standoff back in there. All of the tools needed for that should be included with your Siccario. When you're done, you'll go ahead and tighten that nut back up firmly, and you're going to go ahead and put the landers back on. The USB port for this one also has a magnetic port adapter. We don't recommend leaving the magnetic port adapter in either of these, simply because they can attract any kind of metal shavings or bits or anything that it then could fly off and enter the flight control system or the ESC and cause damage or issues. So though we have them installed possibly on your unit from when you get them, once you get everything set up and you feel like everything is the way you want it, I do recommend pulling those out of the flight controller specifically, You can leave the one in the air unit if you really need to be able to access it, from time to time for the SD card or something. However, again, the recommendation is not to leave those inside the unit. That's going to wrap up kind of your initial introduction into the Siccario and how to put your props on, how to adjust your user settings on your beta flight if you want to adjust anything, and then also how to bind the unit both to the Crossfire and to the main unit for the video transmitter. Thanks for watching. I hope you appreciate and enjoy your Siccario. Big thanks to Gab and Andy Shin for designing and creating this amazing platform that Quad Standard Labs now supports. If you have any questions or issues, please call us or give us an email or shoot us a message. We're happy to help anytime. Thanks for watching.